Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Brody Moore, aka Liefx podcast. I welcome you all, whether you're watching it on Spotify, because we're over there. So if you're on YouTube and you just want it on Spotify for some reason, the video's on there. It's the same thing, essentially. But if you're on Spotify, go over to YouTube, leave a comment on who you want to see next, what you liked about the video. Tell me what kind of shoes you're wearing right now. I don't care. I just like to see you down there having conversations with you. And of course, get into the Discord. We can carry the conversations on throughout the rest of the week when you're not listening to the podcast. I love hanging out with all you guys. In the Discord, we do a lot of community stuff there, or in the Twitch streams over on twitch.tv/Liefx. That's enough about me. You clicked this because you saw who was in the title. So let's get on over to her now. It's Rocket League caster and streamer extraordinaire, Elyse Herrera. Did I say it right? I can never do.
Yeah, you said it well,
okay?
Actually. I never hear my name, like my full name, so it's always funny to see if somebody's going to say it right or not.
Yeah, well, so we went over this conversation. So a lot of people are going to know you, of course, as Herculyse. So I'm able to say Herc from here on out. But talk to me about the name, because we actually had a conversation about your name. Everyone's just saying it wrong because it's actually French, isn't it? And then,
yeah.
Okay, tell me about this.
So my actual name is, well, I guess Elyse, but realistically it's Elyse. Like the street in France.
Yeah.
Like the famous one. And we finally got to have like a sit down with Herrera actually, and the Frenchies in Riyadh. And I was like, guys, say my name correctly. Like, I want to hear it. So they let me get to hear my name right. And it felt so cool to not just hear Elyse.
Right. So I already screwed up at the intro by saying
Elyse. No. Honestly, I see it as Elyse. I really do. I just like when I go in Europe, I'm like, oh, it's Elyse, and it's really cool.
Right. No, that's really fun. So what's your preferred, like, is it weird? Because, like, of course, if my friends say Brody, like, that's cool. And that, but like if people I know from the game community say that, it throws me off a bit. I think we've all had that where like hearing your name is a bit, but you have your name a part of it, so is it like a little less weird?
No, I feel like it honestly makes it weirder.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because I think like the biggest thing for me, and I've talked about this before, is like Herculyse was like a name I chose. I put it together. Like I spent time, you know, really making sure that before I dove into this world, I wanted something that was like, that's her name.
Right.
I don't know why from the beginning I was like, oh, I'm gonna be super mega famous and blah blah blah. Like everything.
Hey, that's
like
the right attitude though.
Planning this down 5 years ago, and I was like, I have to have like a one-word name that's like super cool and memorable. So like, I prefer when people call me Hercules. The only people I really let call me Elyse are like close friends like you and like people that like I talk to. So like, because I've done it before where like I have like strangers come up to me, and I love everybody so much, but like they'll come up and they'll be like, hi Elyse, and I'm like, I do not know you like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a nice separation to have, especially because my whole world is esports. And so when I do finally have like a closer relationship with someone, letting them call me Elyse like gives them a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know, something special.
It's an interesting thing too, because like when we're on camera, something like this is so much different. Here's is something that we can like just let loose and say fuckity fuck, right? But you're not doing that on the Rocket League broadcast. So we and even streaming too, like you're holding a lot back. There's more, it's more of a caricature of yourself. So when someone says your name, I think the reason that happened, why it feels weird, is because these people don't know you. They know Herculyse. They know what they've been shown with that, right? And that's, I guess, the nature of parasocial relationships. And so I think that name thing is, I think that's like the mechanic that kind of throws us off when someone says our real name, right? The weirdest is in like a Rocket League game and someone's like Brody, and I'm like, okay, this motherfucker's Googling me right now. He does not know who I am. Yeah, I think that's the mechanic, is that we're showing just a small part of ourselves. So when we hear the other part, we're like, who this?
I definitely like separate them, like, and I feel like it's kind of nice. I don't know if it's weird, but it's definitely like a Hannah Montana effect, like kind of thing for me, like because no matter like what crazy personal stuff is going on in my life, right? Some reason have had to go into like, that's Hercules' stuff and that's Elyse's stuff. And if I have to work when I'm not feeling myself and I don't feel good, I'm like, okay, but that's Elyse. Like, Hercules is doing great right now. She's about to go hop on a cast or do a podcast or something. Like, snap in, you're good, lock in, whatever.
Right.
And then it's like, when it's done, it's like, okay, back to Elyse. You've got those problems to worry about.
Yeah. There's a lot of problems to worry about. That's for sure. Well, let's journey through your life, because you got a lot going on. I mean, where do we start? Okay, you know what? Let's start somewhere easy. You just had breakfast. What'd you have?
I went and I took myself on a little breakfast date because
Nice.
I've been learning to do things by myself.
What?
So I went to go get French toast and some eggs at this cute little restaurant. And
Did they have real maple syrup for the French toast?
No. Bunch of nerds.
I'll have to show. All right, that's the end of the podcast. Thank you guys for showing. Can't believe it. Yeah, it's something else, that's for sure. Good. I don't eat breakfast usually, but it's Oktoberfest right now, so I had a lot of schnitzel and hot dogs and sauerkraut.
It's like,
no.
I don't know when that topic is coming up, but the level of things that remind me of what is going down is crazy. But no, I've had a lot of people be like, "Oh, are you celebrating Oktoberfest this year?" Like, yeah, I'm okay.
Okay, I guess that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Well, where do we go from here? Okay, from breakfast into life. So yeah, well, I guess it's been made public. How are you through everything that's going on right now? I mean, like, obviously you're having some major changes in your life and in where your trajectory is going. You got on your personal side, plus then also in just the tech world in general, we're seeing it kind of pull in. So and we don't know what's going on going forward. So between those two avenues, your personal life now changes, and that how is Elyse doing? Oh.
Elyse is struggling. She is going through it. Poor thing. I feel like a lot of the things that have gone on in my life, realistically, I wanted it to be private. I didn't really want to do the whole like public version of everything.
Fair enough, yeah.
And then, I mean, I feel like I put my whole life out there for 5 years, pretty much. That like it kind of was owed to like put it out there almost.
It's like, tough. I don't think you should. Yeah, that's a hard mentality to have.
It was a hard, because it's like, it's one of those things where like I definitely knew if I had, I'm just gonna say it. Okay. If I made my relationship my entire personality pretty much. I definitely spent the first 4 years known as so-and-so's girlfriend, not Hercules. Right. And that last year of casting and doing all of the crazy stuff that I was, for the first time, people were like, oh my God, like, that's Hercules.
Herc,
like, you're doing your thing. Like, you're the caster. You're the person that I see here, here, and here, whatever. And I feel like a lot of the stuff that was going on in my personal life and in my career just were not aligned. And I really, really knew that with the end of the season, Gamers 8 in particular being like that last big event, I was like, if, I really want what I want, I felt like I needed to let go of a lot of things, not only for myself to not be held back, but for other people. Feel like it just wasn't aligned. And it's okay. Like, people grow apart and things like that.
Right, yeah. It's a hard thing realizing that it's not only because sometimes when we think about those things of like, well, I need to do my thing, you immediately think in your head, like, oh, I don't want to do that. It's a selfish thing. And you hold yourself back from making those decisions when you do need to realize that you even having those thoughts in the first place can then hold other people back too. And it's the best decision for everyone to make that decision, because then everyone can start to actually flourish and do the things they need to and want to be doing. So it's a hard decision to make. It's a very adult and personal. It's an empathetic decision too, because you are thinking This is why dicks are in charge of the world, because they don't care. They just sever if they need to, right? Whereas people like us, we think about those things, and it takes us a little longer to get to the
I'd be
things we want
taking
to.
too many people's feelings into account before my own, realistically. I've been trying so hard. The cool thing though, like since the breakup, is the amount of traveling I've done.
Right.
Because honestly, and I'm sure a lot of people were curious, and like it was kind of implied when it went public, but like a big chunk of the things that were causing problems was the long distance, and we just weren't in a position in our relationship where we felt like it was going to progress forward into being together in the same country. And just after I had gone and I stayed with my best friend Kaylee in Denmark for like 2 weeks.
Shout out, Kaylee.
She let me do the depression thing, and like you just stay in bed and die and rot. And then after 2 weeks, she was like, all right, like get up, like we're going out, like you're gonna see the sun again, you're gonna shower, you're gonna smell like a person. And everybody, like, it was so sweet. It was like friends that I hadn't really like talked to in like years or a year or something like that were like reaching out and asking me like, hey, would you like to come here and visit me here? Like I had a girl who was like, I'm at New York Fashion Week, would you like to come out here? And so I went to New York. Cool. And then she was like, do you want to come with me to London? So we go to London. And I was like, okay. So we're just like all over the place, like London, LA, New York, went to Texas for like a week or two or something like that. Like I just got back.
Right.
And like I've just been like trying to focus on myself, like be a good person, not get too attached to anybody or anything, because I definitely was a very dependent person before. I missed being independent and just caring about my job and my work and everything. Because honestly, it's questionable and scary as like the Rocket League season being right now, and like not knowing what the future is. And being one of those people that's on that like, oh, does Herc get to move up next year? Or is she gonna wait again? Like I know everybody's asking and like waiting to find out if I get that push, and I also am waiting, but like I also am learning to have patience and like just focus on what's in front of me.
Right. The biggest thing, and again, I was talking to you just before. That's why I'm, by the way, if anyone needs it, I'm on Fiverr. You can go hire me to read scripts for you. I'm looking on Fiverr. I'm pushing out weekly videos on my YouTube. We got the podcast on this channel coming out weekly. I have a third channel. I have 2 other channels past that I'm planning on starting up, because these are things I can build, right? These are things that I have control over, that I can make, be happy, and be proud of. And while I am very proud of the growth and work I've done in casting, ultimately at the end of the day, those things are out of my control. What happens going forward is out of it. And I don't like that feeling. I want to control what's happening here. So that's what I've been doing. And that's I think it's great that you're doing that, because like you have to. You got to build that foundation that you're happy around first before you can have a whole lot of other people coming into that space.
Yeah. I definitely like I feel like the biggest thing for me is like learning to refine like peace in being alone. I definitely like I was alone for the majority of the time. Like I would travel a lot, or like if I would come back to Seattle, I was by myself. But like I wasn't okay with it. I wasn't like happy with it. So I just filled up all my time with working, which I ended up falling in love with what I was doing. But I definitely like wasn't happy with just like not being able to text 24/7 or like call somebody, like even just friends. And so I don't know. I feel like the people that I've reconnected with or even became friends with since Gamers 8, because I feel like Gamers 8 kind of changed a lot for me. I feel like that kind of threw my name out there a lot faster than I expected.
You got to hang out with everyone, and
I got to see people, hang out with people, like, and also like have relationships with people as like somebody that was working in the space and not just like a fan or a streamer for the first time.
Right. Yeah.
That was super different, and making these new friends and reconnecting with old friends, I definitely am like being taught like a million life lessons at like one time, which is like, so I feel like it's a lot, but I honestly, as time goes on, it's getting less and less overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say you're gonna those lessons are gonna like, it's gonna take some time to understand what they mean, how they apply to you, if they apply to you. Not everything everyone tells you is going to be relevant too. It could be something you build off of, and so I think it takes a little time to work around those things, but then it gets more comfortable. So it's good to hear that you're already starting to get into that groove. You feel like the groove is coming or here?
Yeah, it's coming. I definitely acted crazy the first like month and a half.
No kidding. Yeah.
And like I definitely like I definitely wasn't being normal for a while. I spoke to a friend of mine and I told them like after I had casted the last New Era Bubble Series event that I did, I hadn't done anything for like a month. I was like canceling on people. I was like turning things down, and as soon as I casted it, it was like a switch flipped.
Yeah,
is like the only way to describe it. And it was like, oh, like this is the priority. Like your goals and your dreams and your ambitions. That was the original priority all along. Like you don't have to need somebody to be successful or happy or whatever. And so I've been trying, emphasis on trying, not 100% successful yet, guys. We're getting there. But trying not to just like depend on speaking to people for happiness. I feel like I just get bored really easy.
You got TikTok brain.
Like, yeah, I do. I really do. I'm like the OG TikTok brain. I killed it myself.
Surprised we had you here this long. She hasn't already booked up.
Oh man. But honestly, like I'm incorporating like streaming back into my life. That's like the biggest one. And that was cool. I did my first personal stream in like over 6 months.
It's been that long?
Yeah.
Oh,
shit. think I've only done like two personal.
I guess because you had the tournaments, but that was
But they weren't mine. It wasn't me
yeah.
like speaking to people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to do one. The last one I did was actually at Worlds, when I got asked if I wanted to be one of the streamers to watch party at Worlds, and I was like, I don't stream anymore. Like nobody's gonna tune into this, and they were like, it's fine. Like just have your little moment, have fun with it. So I did it, and it's like 30 people, and like it wasn't anything like crazy. But I came back yesterday after, and again, that was like obviously before Gamers 8 and all that stuff. And I came back yesterday, it's like 200 people waiting for me.
Really?
And everybody was like, I've been waiting for you to go live since Gamers 8. Like, I have so many questions. Like, I want to meet you. And I was just like, oh my God, like, I guess like there's my second job is back. Like I could still do
That's
this
cool.
if
That's
I
all.
wanted.
Oh, that's awesome to hear.
So
because that's scary to hit live again and not knowing what's going to happen, right?
Terrified. I was like, literally nobody's going to show up. Nobody's going to care. Like it's going to, like, I know that there's like this core group of like 10, 15 people that I can always hit live and they're just going to lurk in.
Right, of course, yeah.
But like having people tell me like, oh, like, literally, I followed you after Gamers 8. I've literally been waiting for you to go live. You never go live. Like, I'm so happy you're here. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I don't know. I guess Herculyse is getting bigger. Just kind of weird to think about.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm sorry, this is an ADHD thing, but by the way, right where you are right now, your pillow looks like a little bow in your hair.
I get told that
okay,
so much.
I'm sure it wasn't the first.
People are always like, it either looks like a bow or cat ears.
Oh,
There's
right.
no
Yeah.
in between.
Sorry, there's one for people listening on Spotify. You get ripped off on that one. You're gonna have to go over to YouTube and watch. Okay, I figured I wasn't the first one. ADHD brain. I had to throw that one in. I wanted to talk about that because like Gamers 8. Well, first off, how are your feet? Are they recovered?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't think I
You
can
were
show
running.
this. I don't think I can show this on screen, but basically,
never give away for free.
Never for free. Basically, at Gamers 8, if you guys didn't know, I was originally only brought out to do interviews, and that was the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't actually know what that entailed. I thought, oh, this isn't going to be that crazy, whatever. But they had me running, like building to building in the heat. I was not the smartest person
Full screen
in
for
the
story
country. Oh yeah, story time. Wasn't the smartest bitch in the room. And I brought platform leather boots like that were above the ankle, and it was so hot from all the running and everything I did that I got like a I don't want to say a scar, but like a scar.
Is it still? It's still marked.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got battle scars.
I have like this huge line that goes across both of like the bottoms of my legs from where the boots were like indented from running in the heat.
You got battle scars.
It's just like a little sun scar, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that was crazy.
That's no. Now you got it's a permanent reminder of the grind. You know. That's actually wild. Yeah, that was crazy because like all of a sudden, because originally they're like, I think at the beginning everyone's like, okay, set plan. This is what we're doing. Everyone's in their positions. We eventually broke the ice by saying, hey, because they wanted just people like the people on the desk to just always be desk. And we're like, can we switch it up? I mean, some of these guys are casters primarily. We should switch it up. And can we throw Herc in there? And they're like, well, we don't know the flow yet. Herc needs to do that. She's going to be somewhere else. So now, but we'll try the casters thing. And I think once they saw that everyone was responsible getting their to their positions, they're like, okay, I think we can do this. And then throwing you in onto everything. You went desk, cast, and doing interviews was just, they're like, screw it. Let's do it all. But I think you killing the thing they did give you to do really helped with that too, because they're like, all right, we're comfortable now, let's do this. So yeah, it was cool they let you do that.
It was crazy. I remember asking, and like I just was like, oh, I'll throw my name in there. Like I told everybody, I was like, oh, if you guys need a sub, because I remember a lot of people being like, oh, like I feel like my voice is gonna be gone by this day, or I feel like I'm gonna be tired or exhausted. I knew some people already were like feeling fatigued and stuff. So I just was like, I'll throw my name in that, like if you guys need a sub for whatever reason, like just know that I will prep as if I am going in and I'm ready to go. Like I want to be ready if the opportunity arises somehow.
Right.
And yeah,
dress for the job you want, not the one you have, right?
Yeah, they told me, they were like, first 2 days they're like, sorry, like there's literally no way that this is happening. And I was like, oh no, like I did not have any expectations like that it would happen or whatever. And then it's like, I think it was like the day before or something, like the night before, I get a text and they were like, hey, you want to go on for tomorrow for the show match? That was what it was. It was the show match. With the creators versus the coaches. Yes. And I was like, I know this isn't like pro play, but this is like my moment. This is the first time people are going to get to hear me.
Right.
And so I was like, oh my God, yes, like 100,000%, like I'll make it work. Because the biggest part was I was doing the pre and the post match interviews. Yes. So I had to go to one building, do that interview, run to the other, catch the ending, run back to the other building, cast the match, run back, do the pre and the post for the next one. Wild. It was just like a whole bunch of stuff. And then that was when they messaged me again and were like, do you want a semifinal? And I was like, oh my God, like are you serious? And they were like, yeah, it's going to be you and Chimako. Like, it's going to be great. You get semifinal 2. And I'm like, semifinal 2? Like, this is going to be an insane series, like no matter how it plays out.
Right, yeah.
And so I was like, yes, a million times yes. And they were like, are you going to be able to make it work? Actually, like, let's pull someone else. And I went, no. I was like, I told her, I was like, all I need is a personal assistant to hold my shoes. I will put running shoes on. And I did that whole last day. There's pictures of me. I was in like my nice outfit with running shoes.
That's great.
And then just running back and forth everywhere so I could make it on time. And yeah, and then Chimako, oh my God, funny side story. Chimako threw up 30 seconds before my first series with him ever on a broadcast. And I thought he was joking. And he left to go throw up. And I had like 15 seconds to message in the group chat and say that he left me because I didn't know how to catch, because I didn't know what button to push. And I was freaking out. And I remember being in the room like, Chimako just left. Somebody come save me.
Help.
And then it's like 2 seconds later, like you just hear thump, 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 and it's Stumpy just running
just lumbering through. The tree trunk's on his way.
So that happened for that one, and then because Chimako wasn't feeling too well, unfortunately, for the semifinal, they tell me like right before, they're like, it's gonna be you and Jorby. And I was like, anybody that knows me, that's known me for years, like before the casting thing, that Jorby was my favorite caster.
That's awesome.
And if there was anybody I was gonna be really fucking nervous to be around, it was gonna be Jorby. And so they tell me it's Jorby, and Jorby comes into the room, and I look at him, and I was like, oh my god. And he tells me, he's like, hey, like, I'm not gonna be super hype or whatever, like, I'm not feeling the best, like, I'm also getting kind of tired, but he was like, we'll build up to it. I'm like, okay. And so like we start, and I might as well just tell the whole story of how that freaking semifinal went down. But basically, like, I'm really big on like being on my phone all the time. I'm phone addicted. I work off my phone. It's my whole life. I flipped my phone down for the first time during a cast, and I was like, I don't want to know what is going on. I don't want to know if somebody's texting me. I want to be like cut off from the world. And
Zone in.
I flip my phone over, and me and Jorby do our thing. And the beginning of the semifinal, that first match, I was shaking really bad. Like I would just like stick my hand up and show him like if I was shaking, and then he would give me a fist bump, so I would just like knock out of it.
Yeah.
And like we were like chilling, everything's going great, whatever. We start feeling good, and then again, like last call happens of the series. We both jump up, we're screaming, like it's the best. It's like my dream scenario. And then I flip my phone over, and it's just like, of like notifications, like the whole world is freaking out. And I think like in that moment was like the one where I was like, there is nothing more that I want. Like genuinely, there's nothing I've ever wanted more than to experience casting in front of a crowd. Because to do all of that and to have that feeling in a tiny little room with nobody,
it's big. I'm
like, I can't even fathom being in front of a crowd. I don't know. I've just been thinking about that for like the past months.
I mean, even feel the energy, even just like when we were at Worlds hanging out, and just the energy there. And that's not even, we were in casting, we were just talking, right?
We were just talking to people.
And even there, it's so like, ooh, this is something different. Like there's people here, it's just like, it's fun, and you feel the energy from people pouring in. And then if you're center stage, or again, your side stage where the casting booth was, it's something. I hope you can experience that soon, because it's something.
I want it so badly. I've been trying so hard to be like, because I get asked it what feels like every other day at this point, like by somebody, whether it's somebody like DMing me on Twitter or on Instagram, or like if I stream, it happens no matter what. But like, I recently became friends with somebody who was like kind of going through like a rough time in their career as well. Like not rough, but it was like, you're successful right now, like everything is going great, and then like something happens where you're like questioning if you're gonna have that same level of trajectory the next year.
Right.
And becoming friends with that person like made me think about this a lot. Like, okay, like what happens if you don't get to do it next year? Like what happens if next year's not your time yet?
Right.
Because realistically, guys, believe me, I know it is crazy for me to think I could get an RLCS spot in 3 years. Like, I know that sounds super unrealistic.
Nah, here, have mine. I got this podcast now, so I'm good.
I like being delusional. So, but becoming friends with that person and like seeing how their mind works when like things might not play into your favor has been really interesting, like in how it's been affecting my mindset. I feel like I've been surrounding myself with a lot more like people who are super motivated for stuff. Like I want to be around those kinds of people.
No, it's good. I mean, and again, having those dreams, because even if you fall a bit short of it, you're still going to work towards it a bit. If you have a goal, it means you're working towards it, right? And if you don't have that goal, you're like, one day I want to do this. The chances are you're never going to. One day I want to, get my airplane license or something, right? Like, a pilot's license. If you just say one day, you're going to get 50 and it's not going to have happened. And I think that's why a lot of people have their midlife crisis, crises, because you have to set that goal. And again, even if it's unrealistic, it's a goal that means you're going to at some point take a couple steps towards it rather than no steps if you set those goals.
That is so funny though that you said like a midlife crisis thing, because the other thing that I feel like a lot of people don't realize, like my closer friends now are understanding I've definitely changed my mindset like 1,000,000%. But like if you'd asked me last year how I felt about being 25, I would have been like, my life is over. I'm supposed to be married with 2 kids right now. And like everything is like, I'm so far behind. Like I used to get so upset, like seeing my friends get engaged all the time and stuff like that. Like it was rough. And like, I'd be like, man, like when is it my turn? Like, when's it going to happen to me? Ever since it happened, I've been like, 25 is so young. Oh my God, I've got my whole life ahead of me. Like my career is just starting. Like I can't even fathom having kids right now. I'm not there yet. And like, I just want to enjoy it. Like people are like, oh, she's partying a lot. I'm like, yeah, because I was acting like I needed to be married at 21, so I wouldn't go party. Granted, COVID was
they made it a little harder.
Yeah, I spent literally COVID happened when I turned 21. So my 21, 23, I never got to do any of that stuff. So I was doing it at like 23, 24, 25.
Right. No, it's something that you start to realize the passage of time becomes a little bit different. The more you experience time, the faster it feels it goes, because those smaller increments feel like nothing.
Yeah. Oh, when I tell you, like, I feel like I blacked out this year. I don't understand how it is October. I don't even understand how it's October 6th. I thought it was October 1st, like yesterday.
I thought it just turned October as well.
Literally, how are we like almost a week in? Like, what is going on? And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, this is going by too quickly. Like, this is insane. And I'm like, literally next month, I'm going to be 26, right?
Yeah.
How? Like...
The good thing is you're making memories in this year, though.
Yeah.
You've done a lot. Think about what you've done. Let's reflect on the year. What have you done this year? Right?
Okay, I've traveled to new countries, got to go to Saudi Arabia. I feel like that's the craziest one. I always come back to it because last year, around this time, when I worked the eSport Awards first time.
Right, yeah.
That was the first time I'd ever done it. I got introduced to CSA through a mutual friend.
Okay.
And I jokingly shot my shot with them. And I hyped myself up a little bit more than I should have, and I'm glad it worked out. But I was totally a liar at the time, and I was like, yeah, I'm like the biggest up-and-coming Rocket League caster right now. Like, you guys are gonna want to sign me. Like, I know you only sign veterans and stuff like that, but like, it'll be so worth it, whatever.
How many beers deep was this?
A lot. I was a lot of drinks in at this point.
It works out.
And I told them, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I could get Gamers 8 if I wanted. And they were like, that's not how it works. And I said, no, I have a feeling that I'm going to get Gamers 8 next year.
That's not how it works. No, you're wrong. That's how it's going to work.
And I just kept telling them, I was like, I literally have one goal for myself, and that's Gamers 8. And they were like, not RLCS. I was like, no, that's not how it works. RLCS, it's not how it works. I know that one's not going to happen. For some reason, I was like, there's a chance for Gamers 8, and I know I could have it if I wanted it. And they were like, okay. And so we spoke on and off for like 2 months or whatever, like December, January. And then February pulls around, and CRL starts up, and I get moved up to the A stream after a half a split. And that was when they reached out, and they were like, okay, I think she's serious. And we see all the Twitter announcements that she does. Yeah. Somebody needs to get this girl like together and figure it out or whatever. But I don't even know where I was going with this conversation. But
we're just kind of taking a journey through it up to your Gamers 8.
Oh, yeah. So, like, I got to do a whole bunch of stuff. I casted my first, technically it's an international LAN, the CRL World Championship.
Right, yeah.
Got to do my first LAN at DreamHack. Casted the first women's international LAN for Rocket League as well that weekend. Got put on to 2 LANs in one weekend. That was that one. Yeah, I started the tournament series. I only have 4 left out of 15. That's crazy.
They're all done before the end of the year, yeah?
Yeah, I have to do them 1 to 2 a month is like how I planned it out because, and I don't think Rocket League is going to take notice of this. I would love a community spotlight for selfish reasons, but I did it purposely so when it all ends, I can say I was the first creator to host a event with a minimum prize pool of $5,000 at least once a month for an entire year.
That's crazy, though. That's actually wild.
I don't know if Rocket League's put it together that I've done that.
That's true. Sometimes you need to spell things out for people.
I mean, I really...
It's very easy for us to get wrapped up in our own world.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay to throw that out there. You could do it in a way that's like humble too.
Yeah.
You could throw it out and be like, wow, about to wrap up our last 2 of this. This will be the first time. It'd be cool to finish. This is the first person to ever do this. I think that's a cool way to do it.
Could be fun.
I think they got a lot going on over there right now.
They got some stuff going on, I think.
yeah, they got some stuff. They're working it out right now. Then after that, there was hanging out at Worlds, and then you had Gamers 8, and now you're traveling everywhere.
I also I skipped out on a lot of the lands. I didn't go to any of the majors outside. I went to Worlds. What was the last major before that?
I only went to Rotterdam and Boston. Were you in Boston?
Actually, I might have gone. I don't think I went to Rotterdam. I might have went to Boston. I think Boston was the one I went to.
You've done so much this year.
I've done so much, I have no idea what I've done. I just know that I was doing so much that I was actually not going to Rocket League, which was crazy to think about. And then I remember the biggest one was I had gotten asked if I wanted to work TwitchCon Paris, and it was the same weekend as Worlds. And I was like, as much as I want to, I have not gone to any Rocket League lands.
Right, and if there's one you're going to,
I'm going to Worlds.
Right.
So I turned TwitchCon down and I went to Worlds, not TwitchCon itself. It was like to work for a company working at TwitchCon, and
right.
I turned that down and I went to Worlds, and then ever since then I've been telling people, I was like, it is so weird for me to go to lands now since I started casting, because I was telling people, I was like, I don't know if anybody's gonna recognize me now. I don't stream anymore. I just cast and I do my tournaments. And I showed up and everybody was like, oh my god, like, you're my favorite caster. Like, I've seen you on CRL and I've seen you here at X, Y, and Z and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what the heck? Like, this is so weird.
That's
and
awesome,
then
man.
I was telling people, I was like, it was also weirdly harder to go to a LAN now. This is not a hot take. This is just my, like, me thing. I don't enjoy sitting there listening. I wanted to be down there casting more than anything in the world, and I seemed so annoying to my friends when we were there. I was sitting there the whole time and I was just listening to what they were saying and obviously like watching the games and stuff. And I wanted to talk about what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And I had a friend of mine, they were like, I don't even listen to what they're saying. And I was like, you need to listen to what they're saying because it's important. And it makes it so much better. And I was telling people, I was like,
Amen.
You all need to listen to them because I want to talk about this right now. And they were like, Elyse, we're not talking about this right now. And I was like, I am. I want to talk about it with somebody. And so I definitely was nerding out in my last LAN. And I was like, ew, I got like the itch to be that person.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. I mean, again, I think you've been the embodiment of manifestation the past while. I mean, you keep saying like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then you do this. And that's good. You know, I'm sure there's some things here and there that will or won't work out. But for the most part, you're setting yourself big milestones and hitting those milestones. And I think that's something that a lot of people should learn from too. I mean, there's always a balance, right? You never want to go so far that you feel invincible, that you become arrogant, but you always need to make sure that, I mean, again, if you don't believe, it's the same mentality that Rocket League players have. If you don't believe you're the best, how are you going to be the best? right? You have to believe you can do something. Otherwise, you're not going to work towards it. If you don't believe you're ever going to be able to juggle, why would you even start practicing?
Exactly.
You know?
I think the biggest thing for me, and it's so funny that you say like the manifestation thing. If I had it, I would have shown you. I got a bracelet at Disneyland last year, at the end of last year, that says manifest on it. And I wore that thing every single day up until I went to live with Kaylee.
You are the main character.
And and funny enough, after I was in Denmark, after my breakup and everything had gone down, I forgot that bracelet. It was the first time I had taken it off and like wasn't wearing it. And I was fully convinced. I was like, oh my God, my life is going to shit because like I don't have this bracelet on and like nothing is working out. Nobody I talk to like reciprocates the energy that I want anymore. Like I'm freaking out. And I was totally like swearing up and down it was because I didn't have my bracelet on.
Man.
And everybody was like, dude, you know, you don't need your bracelet. Like you can still have the same level of energy or whatever. And funny enough, this is my like 1 month without my bracelet. Like I legit wore that thing every single day. Shower, swimming, didn't matter what. And I wore that bracelet. If you look closely at the Gamers 8 footage, I'm wearing the bracelet.
Oh, you are?
Like, you know, everything that you see me in.
I feel that. As a kid, I had a necklace that I would wear as well. Just as a kid, though, just all the time. And when I didn't have it, I felt unsafe.
Yeah, that's been me. I'm like, dear God, like, I'm telling you, Elyse has had a lot of issues since I forgot that bracelet. And it, not like anything that well, I mean, it matters to me, but like not anything serious. But it's like I feel like I don't know how to act without my bracelet.
You're gonna go through this is the next arc where things are going to fail, but it's because you're gonna eventually have to. It's like the Space Jam, you know, when they give them the super secret juice in the bottles, but it's just water. They could do it all along. It's gonna be that placebo thing. Like you're gonna be able to do it all along.
I hope so. I'm so nervous to live life without this bracelet. I need to get it back. But no, it's been okay. I think the biggest thing has been like I said, like when I'm not busy 24/7, I usually don't know how to act. Like I'm definitely a workaholic, like for sure. And for some reason, I'm like, oh, it's because I don't have my bracelet on. That's why I'm not getting hired as much. As if like we're not in like the craziest break ever of Rocket League.
We're in esports recession right now.
And I'm out here like, nope, it's because I don't have my bracelet on.
And well, that's hard. This is how like depression acts, is that we look at those things and we say, it is my fault. I am causing this. When it's the reality, it's other outside factors. But when you don't have all the information, you just look at yourself and say, I am the problem. When it's not. We're all sitting here twiddling our thumbs right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to fill my time and like chill out. I feel like I'm definitely growing and learning. I feel like I spent all of this year not like just doing work stuff and not working on myself, and I feel like these last couple months of the year, like I want to dedicate, you know, to working on me and being a good person, especially because like I mean I say it all the time, like I say it on stream, people have known this about me for years, but like I'm a lover girl. I love I love, you know, being there for somebody and supporting them. And I mean, for those of you asking and wanting to know the tea, like I said it yesterday when people kept bringing it up, but like I still support him. I hope, I wish him the best. I hope things work out for him. But like moving forward, it's like I want to be a little bit more selfish with my feelings and things like that, and I want somebody to do that for me now. And I feel like the only way to find somebody is if I do that for myself first. And do it wholeheartedly, because I feel like I definitely seek a lot of validation by like posting my stuff on Twitter.
It's hard not to. I mean,
yes. It works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. You guys hype up my tweets of me saying I have an announcement more than the actual announcement.
The announcement itself, yeah.
I posted a tweet of a contract gif and got like 300 likes, and then I posted the actual announcement. It was like 100, and I was like, What?
This is well. So this is again the secret to creating anything successful with retention, with whatever it is never give everyone the full picture. Let them make up the story in their head because they're going to make up the best story in their own head. That's
True.
what you got. That's the secret. That's why all these
definitely learn privacy. Like I feel like that's a huge thing. Like
right.
I tweeted about this on my alt account the other day, and I was like, learning to not post my entire life online has been really
It's hard.
It's difficult, but it's been nice. Like
Yeah.
it definitely is hard because I do have days where I'm like, oh, I just want to, if I'm having a bad day, I just want to freaking tweet about it and say it so that somebody will tell me like they want me to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, I'm like, okay, just I don't know, like journal or something. I don't know, like. But
that's my old Twitter. If you go back to like early days Twitter, I don't even if I said things I no longer agree with, I bet there's stuff on there that I'd be like, fuck this guy. But I keep it up because I think it's a good way for if anyone ever does look through it ever, you see growth and change in a person.
Yeah.
But my first tweets are just emotional, depressive Linkin Park song lyrics. You know?
my alt account is insane. Like the people I've allowed into it, it used to be public and then I locked it. But there's like 600 people on there, and it is so funny because like I can't tweet about anything without somebody thinking they know what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
So like I could be like, I don't know, like I think when the biggest thing was like when the tournament series was there was like some stuff going down with it, and like legally I was getting like really pissed off. And, because this tournament series is like my baby. This is my passion.
Right. You've been growing it, yeah, of course.
And basically, like I had tweeted something on my alt account, and like the whole world, everybody was like, somebody be careful, like somebody's gonna screenshot this and send it to Jake Lucky and blah blah blah. And I was like, and I'm like, oh god, okay, I gotta like watch my mouth if like stuff like this can end up on like a news site.
It's hard. It's hard when you're under the microscope because you feel like you can't.
I didn't think I was famous. Like not to be that person. I by no means think I am famous. By no means. Like realistically, I see people. I know people like Musty exist. I know people like Athena exist and stuff like that. I was walking in downtown Austin, going back to my car from Starbucks the other day when I was out there, and a group of guys recognized me.
Really?
And invited me to go to the Joji concert.
That's
like,
crazy.
It was like 45 minutes later. So I was just like, yeah, let me just go put my stuff in my car.
What the fuck?
I'll go with you.
That's awesome.
Like, and I texted my friend and I was like, yo, like this like crazy stuff just went down, and they were like, what? And I was like, I just got recognized and then invited to go to the Joji concert. And they were like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, I swear. And so I just went. I went to the Joji concert with these guys that knew me. And
that's awesome.
It was really cool. And so like that was kind of one of those moments where I was like, oh wow, like I'm growing. Like
that's cool.
The name is getting bigger, and maybe like my follower count doesn't like always reflect it, even though like I know my TikTok and stuff like that, my brain is more along the lines of what
right. But I mean, think about this too, is like people will see. I don't follow people on Twitch anymore, but like I will watch people's Twitches. I know who they are. People watch the RLCS. They'll know all the casters. Doesn't mean
that
I don't have hundreds of thousands of followers, but they still know the name, right?
That's how I'm starting to realize, like, doing all of these shows and all of these things, people are like, they're seeing me and they're seeing Herculyse across the screen name and stuff like that. And they don't necessarily have to follow me to like me,
right?
Or like be a fan or whatever. And that's like, that has been the most like mind fucking thing to process, is like people knowing who I am without following me, but like still liking me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's you know and probably drink Coca-Cola every once in a while. Are you following them on Twitter? You know what I'm saying?
Okay. If somebody had told me that like last week, I would have been like, okay, this isn't as crazy as I thought.
Yeah, no, it's good to keep that perspective because again, in today's day and age, we look at numbers so fucking much. And it's really hard to step away from our value as humans being a number on the screen. And I had to make a big shift myself. I had to look at the, there's the TikTok brain.
Yeah, stop. Listen, guys, I'm doing another podcast after this. Okay.
We'll let you go in a sec. Let me give you my old man wisdom here, and then we'll be out.
Okay, give me the wisdom so I can walk away a new woman.
Well, maybe it won't work for you, but for me, what I've done is I've started to look at the things I'm building. So I like more numbers on my YouTube videos, right? Okay, what am I doing to get more numbers? And instead of looking at like, what am I doing to get more numbers? I try to look at it. What am I doing to learn what holds attention during certain parts of a video? What gets people to click, and learning those methods rather than looking at the number is just a reflection of the success. It's not purely about the number itself. So I started looking at the art form. How can I create a more attractive 30 seconds intro on my video that people enjoy watching and kind of hacks into the brain to make them keep watching? And that to me has been the journey rather than looking at the numbers. And that's helped me step away from my value as numbers, because my numbers relatively, I'm not getting hundreds of thousands of views, but I am getting better at making these intros. So I try to look at it goal oriented rather than number oriented. Might not work for anybody else, but
no, it definitely works. That was like my mindset back when I was TikToker and creator. Like I was like, oh, like what makes the videos more interesting rather than like, why are people, like why are you trying to do this or whatever. But yeah,
the numbers will still be there.
It'll still be there. You guys are all there. Everybody's paying attention. My favorite quote that like keeps coming on my For You page is like from this chick, or it's like a TikTok sound or something.
Okay.
And it's like, when you post a picture on Instagram, it gets maybe 500 likes, right?
Okay.
You post that same photo on your story and you're going to get 10,000 views. And it says the moral of the story is people may not always like you, but everybody's always watching. And I keep having to remind remind myself that like there's a lot of like emotions that people have around like what my journey has been this past year and things like that. And especially now after everything, like people have new feelings towards me and stuff like that. But I keep having to tell myself the same thing. It's like, just because my numbers aren't going up doesn't mean people aren't paying attention to everything that I'm doing and like watching.
Right.
Best revenge, even though I don't need revenge, is success. So
I have one question to head you out then. First, I'm going to mention one thing. So on the terms of reflection, how great did it feel to look at your phone after the cast? You had it face down. How amazing did it feel to get all of those notifications at once?
It, like, honestly was, like, indescribable. And this is... Maybe I'll talk about this one day, but not yet. Having the entire... What literally felt like the whole world cheering me on in that moment. People were tweeting... Like, if you looked at the timestamps, like, people like Woody... were tweeting during the series. People like Athena were watch partying it and like singing my praises and all this stuff. And I had checked my text messages actually. And 3 people in particular texted me. And that meant more than anything in the world, because by the time I had gotten to Gamers 8, I had gained the confidence to reconnect with some old friends after a long time. And having them plus the entire world just like it was like a Hercules moment for like 20 minutes. It was so cool.
And I just want to say that's the lesson in delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Put your phone down, and it's better when you get them all at once.
It's better when you get them all at once. But it honestly, like, not only like was it like the best feeling in the world, I feel like that was the most motivated I'd ever felt in my life. And I've done so well to not lose sight of how that felt.
Right.
I like in that moment, I was like, RLCS is possible one day. People want to see it. And I remember because it was only one bad message out of literal hundreds.
Yeah, sorry about that.
One bad message. And it was this guy, and he had written, he was like, like, no diss to Herc, but she was only on that because she has the hype right now. And I was like,
well, that's what our job is.
what? And they were like, she's only on it because like everybody's hyping
Oh,
her
I see
up
what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Okay.
So doing it because like people were hyping me up and because like I had followers and stuff. And I remember taking the message to Johnny Boy, and I was like, dude, I'm trying so hard. There's like all these people saying nice things, and I got this one bad one, and I can't stop looking at it. And he was like, did you read the rest of the stuff? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, so don't look at that one. He was like, and the guy's not wrong. You're there because you have the hype, but you have the hype for a reason.
Right.
You earned it.
Exactly.
And I was like, okay, that makes more sense. But yeah, learning.
Yeah, I
grinding.
mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with being the hype because that means there's a reason people are hyped about that for you being there in the first place. And then you get to continue just to prove, yeah, I am the hype. We're entertainers. And if people want you,
it makes me really scared though if it does happen. I feel like it's so hyped up in my brain that like when it does happen, I'm gonna be like super hardcore on myself. But I don't
which
know.
get
I
like doing
RLCS.
RLCS.
Yeah, like the idea of doing RLCS is like crazy to me.
That's the dream, isn't it?
It's oh my god. We would have to do a whole other podcast. I could talk
Part
about it
2 coming
hours.
soon.
Forever. I could talk about how much I want that and like my whole history and like the esport and everything.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie. I also have a lot more I want to talk to you about as well. But obviously, I know you got to get out. So here's the question I want to ask you here: is if you had one thing to reflect on, a piece of advice you learned, a thing you taught yourself, a thing you're still reflecting on. What is the takeaway from the year so far? Reflect on it. What is the takeaway?
I think my takeaway from this year so far is
Big screen.
Yeah. My takeaway from this year so far definitely would be like to know that it is okay to be selfish sometimes. Realistically, like it is okay. Nobody's gonna hate you for it. And if somebody hates you for being a little selfish in a very short lifetime, that's their problem to deal with. And then the only other thing I would say is be delusional. love the people you want to love. If you want to fall in love in like 5 seconds, fall in love. If you think that you're gonna hit a goal that took most people 10 years to get and you think you can do it in 5, go do it in 5. But like there's nothing wrong with being delusional. There's nothing wrong with, being selfish. But at the same time, learn to find peace in being alone, because being delusional and being selfish is very, very low. And
very easy to go crazy.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, well, again, I think you've had an incredible year. And I hope it continues to be incredible into the next year as well. I mean, you keep the grind up. You've been putting in a lot of hard work, and I'm glad that it's being recognized. So,
Thank you.
yeah, no, I hope it continues. And thank you for spending time. I always love chatting with you. We talked for like 3 hours in Riyadh.
Yeah, we could talk forever. Guys, like his videos. We'll do a part 2.
Yeah, you guys got to be watching it. Spam part 2 in the comments. Shout out Herc. Thank you again so much for coming on. And everyone, again, like and subscribe, all that jazz over on the Spotify. Hit the follow button. And of course, get in the Discord. I really want you guys in the Discord. I love hanging out with you guys in the Discord. So get on over there. But for now, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.